Hey guys, Chris here from Carolot Farm. Happy November. It is, I think, November 24th, so we're getting really close to Thanksgiving. But what I want to talk to you about today is not so much Rocky, who's very happy eating behind me here, or even his buddy Shenanigans, who's over here eating his pile of hay. But really, I want to talk to you about Lady and what's going on with her, because this is now the second time in the last 6 weeks that our friend Lady has been off her feed for several days. And I want to kind of catch you up as to what's going on, what I think might be going on at least, and something we're trying that's a little different. Behind me here is Lady's primary turnout, and she shares it with the two boys, Shenanigans and Rockstar. Well, as you can see, there's not a lot of grass out here in our paddocks. It's November, it's just what happens, right? We've been putting hay out for the horses, but because Lady's teeth are not very good, I don't know that she's truly ingesting much of the hay. And because there isn't much grass, I think that she just hasn't been getting enough forage into her diet to keep her belly happy. I suspected this happened a few weeks ago, and we started her on a digest aid, and within a day or so, her appetite was back. She was perky, she was excited for meals, and she was doing really, really well. I mean, she was gaining weight, she was, increasing the amount she was eating because we started giving her hay pellets as well as her senior feed, and she was doing fantastic. But then a few days ago, she once again just started eating less and less with each meal, to the point where now she has zero interest in any kind of grain or soaked hay pellets. And I'm just beginning to worry that she's not eating enough because she gets so little of the hay. And again, we have no grass. So now I want to tell you what I'm trying to do for her, because she's still perky. I think she feels relatively well. She just doesn't want to eat anything, which is concerning, of course. We are in the process of building our winter turnout in front of the house, and that winter turnout will have more grass. And Lady here is going to be the biggest one really benefiting from that. So, we're really close. We have got a few more boards to put up. We sunk a post in concrete yesterday that was just drying. So again, fingers crossed we can get her and maybe a buddy out there really soon. But until then, I still need to figure out how best to get some, grass or other forage into this little mini here. And so you look out here, outside of the horse paddocks, well, we have grass. And so I brought her out yesterday evening and I was hand grazing her because, again, she didn't want to eat her dinner. She eats like just a little mouthful or two, she gums it a little, and then she turns her nose up to it. So when I brought her out to hand graze her last night, she was really eager to eat, and I think I ended up hand grazing her for probably close to an hour last night. And so this morning, I tried giving her breakfast again. I even gave her a bucket of just hay pellets and a bucket of plain grain to kind of give her the options. I had still been mixing it prior to today. And, she ate a few nibbles of this and a few nibbles of that, but it wasn't enough to really amount to anything. So I thought, well, let me hand graze her again. But then I had another idea. I want to show you what I've got her doing right now. I actually have Lady tied here to a makeshift tether line. This is something similar to what you might see a goat tied to. It's a simple short T-post anchored into the ground. I did put a cap on it though, because T-posts are a little sharp on the top, and I've tied her extra long lead rope with some natural baling twine. So I'm keeping a really close eye on her today. I'm not going to go far because I want to make sure that she's comfortable and she's not going to become anxious or excited. But so far, she's super smart, super sensible, and just really happy to be out here grazing. So that's a plus. I've been sitting out here with Lady, my chair is not far. I've been sitting out here keeping a close watchful eye over her for the last 30 minutes or so. And I've seen her step on her lead rope and very quietly pick her foot up and step back. I've seen her reach the end of her tether line and just again, gently come back. So I feel pretty confident that she is very, very sensible. She's not going to be silly. And I'm going to now step into the barnyard where the horses are just to pick their paddocks. But again, I'm going to remain close by and keeping a close eye on Lady all the time. She's doing really well up there. I've seen her, walk a little here, walk a little there. But this is working well for her. And again, this is not going to be a long-term thing. It's just for a little bit of grazing while we can go about other chores here on the farm. I would not ever leave her, unattended for more than a quick second. I wouldn't want her to get into distress, but for a short time while I'm here close by, this is going to work really well until that winter turnout is ready in the front. I did not get my phone out quite fast enough, but Lady was just laying down up here on the hill. It was just for like a moment or two, and once I saw her, I started like walking towards her, and she hopped right up. I am a little concerned about that. I don't want her to lay down and potentially roll and get herself tangled. So, I would rather her not do that. But I also recognize that it's almost time for her mid-morning nap. She's an old lady and she has a routine. And oftentimes I do see her laying in the barnyard around this time of day. So as soon as I finish picking the ring, I'm going to put Lady back out here with the boys, and then she can go back up to the barn and lay. She likes to lay close to those black mats in front of the barn where it's nice and warm. So again, I'm not going to keep her out here much longer. But I also just want to mention that the reason I think the grass is going to hopefully get her back on track is I do suspect that it's just kind of an upset belly that she has. She still wants to nibble on grass. She'll still nibble on hay a little. So I feel comforted knowing that if she didn't want to eat anything at all, I would certainly have the vet out. She doesn't seem to be running a fever, and she doesn't seem to feel bad in any other way. She just doesn't have her full-blown normal appetite. So again, that's unusual. It's something to really be mindful of, and I want to keep watching her closely. But if the grass doesn't improve her situation and her appetite, I'll definitely have the vet out soon, because there's something going on that is keeping her from wanting to eat as she typically does. I want to watch her. I think she's going to go up and get a big drink of water. That's a good sign. I'm so glad. Another reason to not leave her out on that tether line too long. I don't have water out there for her. Plenty of moisture in the grass, but a good, big, hearty drink is just the thing. So we've seen Lady eat grass for over an hour. She was out there grazing for a good long time. She just came in, had a nice big drink of water. I'd love to see her drop a manure pile before I go into the house. I still have some more picking to do, so I'll keep an eye out for that. But other than just not having a huge appetite, she seems to be feeling relatively okay. She's not a very perky horse anyways, but I don't see other signs that would tell me that she is any sort of discomfort. So I'll keep watching her. We'll keep giving her more grass, and I'll probably bring her back out middle of the day, let her graze for a bit, bring her back out this evening, let her graze a bit more. She'll have access to hay out in the field with the boys now. So I'm going to do my part to make sure she just has her free choice of forage to the best of my abilities. And fingers crossed, her appetite will pick back up here soon. If I were to look at her and try to read her body language, I see that she's closing her eyes. She's got her back leg cocked. And to me, she looks like she is just ready for that mid-morning nap, like I told you, in the warm sunshine. To me, she does not look like she feels ill. She's just in a resting state. I just came up. I wanted to feel all four of her hooves, make sure nothing felt too warm. I'm hearing a lot of gurgles in her belly. Again, she just ate a fair amount of grass, and for this little mare who hasn't been eating much lately, that's a good bit of food that she's actually got, that she's processing now. You can hear Snuggles. She's kind of banging on the gate over there. But I'm feeling good about Lady. I'm going to step away because I am suspecting that she's going to want to lay down and take a nap. As Lady is just standing here resting, I've noticed that, she shifted her weight to the other hind foot being cocked. Originally the right was cocked and now the left. So it's a good sign that she is, shifting her weight. She's not shifting it frequently, but The fact that it's not the same hind foot that's always cocked is a good sign. So I don't suspect anything in her feet is troubling her. I think it is just her belly. Whenever one of my horses is either not feeling well or has something going on that I'm trying to figure out and get to the bottom of, one of the first things I want to ask myself is what's new, what's different, you know, have we changed their feeding? You know, is there a routine that's different? And so with Lady, as I sit and kind of ponder that, her feed has been completely the same for the last 6 weeks, ever since she kind of regained her appetite after that last similar spell. She was getting the same amount of grain, the same amount of hay pellets soaked. She has been getting the digest aid. He is coming to see if there's any food left in Lady's stall here. But Lady did not eat her breakfast in her stall this morning. Normally she does. Normally she comes here into this stall, and I'll show you right where Rocky is. He's giving us a good demo. Lady usually eats out of this green tub on the ground. And this morning though, because she, again, her appetite has just been so little, I actually fed her over here by the entry gate this morning. I gave her 2 buckets to choose from. One had her hay pellets, one had a little bit of grain in it. And she really just kind of gummed a little here and a little there. She didn't eat anything of any real substance or true amount. So that was different. But you know, as Rocky was showing you, that green tub that she eats out of is generally flat on the ground. And I got to thinking this morning, well, she's an old lady and maybe she's got some arthritis that's bothering her. Oh, you can see her. She is going to lay down and take that nap. So I thought, well, maybe I'll pick her bucket up, because if it's an arthritic issue she's having, it has been getting colder, maybe having her bucket on the ground is too hard for her. And so I was holding her bucket up, and I'm not going to say that really helped. She ate out of it a little bit, but she also then ate out of it on the ground. So that's something to be mindful of, something to keep an eye on. Sometimes older horses do have some arthritis, and it can flare up more in the winter. And so bending and eating off the ground could become more of a hardship. I have heard, though, that it's safest to feed your horse down on ground level. So that's kind of what I've been doing with these guys, especially since my feed tubs originally were at full horse height, which is a little too high for them. So those are just some different things that we're thinking about, but her food had not changed. Her digest aid supplement she was still getting. The only other thing that was a little bit different is over the last couple of weeks, I have been introducing the herd a little more. They've kind of been merging together for a few hours each day to graze. And I know that Lady is still very apprehensive of Sweetheart, who is the most dominant. And so perhaps that extra stress has caused her stomach issues. I really don't know, but those are kind of the best guesses I have. And I'll keep thinking as to what else could be different. But so far, other than mixing the group together a little more than I had been doing, that's the only thing that had changed. Here she is taking that nap I was telling you about. This is pretty typical of her, though. She just lays down, she rests for, I don't know, 15 to 30 minutes, and then she's back up on her feet. You know, she's not rolling, she's not looking back at her stomach. I don't get the sense that anything hurts. She just enjoys her mid-morning naps. Sometimes if your horse is having hoof tenderness issues, laying down can be a telltale sign sometimes, but because I only ever see her laying down this time of day for a short period of time, I don't think it's a hoof issue. It's just her natural routine, but that is something to be mindful of. If you have a horse that is constantly like laying down and resting and getting up, and then every 30 to 60 minutes or so later, you're seeing laying down again, or shifting their weight quite a bit, those are certainly things to take note of. But in Lady's case, to me, everything seems pretty normal based on my observations over the last many months. I was curious to see if Lady would eat treats, and she's showing more interest in these little treats than she has had in anything in quite some time. I gave her some apple slices yesterday that, again, she scarfed up and was really happy to eat. It's just her grain. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I'm going to give her a few more treats because the fact that she's eating something with vigor is wonderful. Look at those little ears looking for more. Another perplexing piece to this lady saga is the fact that she loves apples. She scarfed those up. She really enjoyed those treats that I just gave her a moment ago. She couldn't get enough of those. And so I'm not really sure, again, what it is, but there is something that's a little off. But if she felt really, really, really horribly lousy, she wouldn't even want those treats. I mean, I've had horses, if a horse is running like a fever, they don't want anything usually. And so for Lady, it's like she's not feeling bad. She's just not got much of an appetite. But the fact that she, again, perked up for apples, perked up for treats, is happy to eat the grass, will still nibble on a little hay, has to be feeling a little better. I'm hearing more gurgle sounds, so that's good. Her body is still processing and digesting the grass that she ate earlier. So I feel those are all promising things, but I'll keep you posted. And, thanks for tuning in. Again, fingers crossed that, she just comes right out of this like she did last time. I'm thinking it wasn't because of the digest aid, which is unfortunate because I was really excited about that. Thank you for joining me today. Check back soon because I will definitely keep you posted on Lady, and hopefully, the fact that she's going to turn the corner here soon. If she doesn't, I will definitely need to have the vet out. But I am fingers and toes crossed. I am so hoping that just getting a little more food into her belly by way of grass and grazing outside of her paddock will be a good start to get her heading in the right direction. And just as soon as we get that front field winter turnout finished, I'm going to pop her out there because I think just getting on grass 24/7 is going to be a really, really beneficial thing for her, most especially. So check back soon. Have a great rest of your day and hope to see you in the future. Bye, guys.